Must apologise. Good afternoon. Welcome to this meeting of Barrow Borough Council. My name is Councillor Kevin Hamlin and I am the Mayor and Chairman of this beloved place. May I first remind you of some of the domestic arrangements. It's important that all participants conduct themselves in an appropriate manner, including those from our court. Please put your mobile phones on silent. If any member or officer wishes to speak, please raise your hand via the participants' raise hand facility in Zoom. If you're not speaking, please mute your microphone until invited to speak. And even if not speaking, you may still be shown on the screen. So please remember this when the meeting is being conducted, that you do not interrupt other speakers. If members do lose connection in the meeting, we will adjourn for 10 minutes to assist them reconnecting. I would like to remind everybody present in this meeting that it's being broadcast live to the internet. The whole of the meeting will be recorded except where they're confidential exempt items. That if you are attending the meeting to speak and persistently interrupt the meeting, you may be asked to leave. If a member of the public asks a question to the meeting, they will be deemed by the council to have consented to being recorded. By entering this meeting, you are therefore consented to be recorded by the council and the possible use of sound recordings for webcasts and for training purposes. To vote on matters, I will ask the Democratic Services Manager, John Hook, to manage the process. At this point, members will be requested to unmute your microphones. After a brief pause, the mover and seconder will be requested and the roll call of members will be undertaken. Please reply with I vote for, against or abstain. Then remute your microphone. That's the formalities over. Let's proceed with the day's business. First item on the agenda is apologies for absence, so I'll hand over to Mr. Hook, the Democratic Services Manager, to do roll call for members and officers present at the meeting. Thanks, John.
Thank you, Chair. Can I ask the attendees to introduce themselves, starting with members? I will say each member's name. Please respond with present. Councillors Assood.
Present.
Barrow.
Present.
Biggins.
Present.
Blessard.
Apologies, sent his apologies.
Thank you. Councillor Brooke.
Present.
Burley.
Apologies for Councillor Burley.
Burns.
Present.
Callister.
Present.
Cassidy.
Present.
Edwards D.
Present.
Edwards H.
Present.
Gorn.
Present.
Hall.
Present.
Hamilton.
Present.
Husband.
Present.
Johnston.
Present.
McClure.
Apologies.
Thank you. McEwen.
Present.
McLeavy.
Present.
Maddock.
Present.
We have apologies from Councillor Mooney. Morgan.
Present.
Knott.
Present.
Pemberton.
Present.
We have apologies from Councillor Piddock. Preston.
Present.
Roberts.
Present.
Robson.
Present.
Ronson.
Present.
Seward.
Present.
Shirley.
Present.
Thompson A.
Present.
Thompson C.
Present.
Wall.
Present.
Worthington.
Apologies.
Thank you. I will ask the officer's name. Please respond with your name and job title. Sam Plum.
Present, Chief Exec.
Sue Roberts. Sue Roberts. I can see you, Sue, but I can't hear you. We'll move on. Steph Corden,
Present, Director of People and Place.
Debbie Storr,
Present, Head of Legal and Governance.
Helen Houston,
Present, Development Services Manager.
Michael Barry,
Present, Acting Senior Manager for Economy, Enterprise and Place at Cumbria County Council, supporting Barrow Borough Council with the town deal.
David Hoffian,
Present, Programme Manager, Cumbria County Council, working on behalf of Barrow Borough Council.
Sharon Rushton,
Present, Democratic Services Officer.
thank you very much.
Thanks, John. Agenda item 2, urgent items. I have agreed that an urgent item be considered at this meeting as a part 2 item. This will come after agenda item B, questions to the leader of the council. Agenda item 3, declarations of interest. Does any member have an interest to declare? If so, raise your hand.
Councillor
No.
Robson,
Councillor Robson. Steve?
Hello, agenda item number 9, the homelessness and rough sleeping strategy, makes reference to the partnership between Barrow Council's Housing Department and Women's Community Matters, and I am married to the Senior Officer at Women's Community Matters, and I work for Women's Community Matters occasionally as a freelance worker.
Thanks, Steve.
Sorry, can I just say, Chair, I can't find where to put my hand up, but I'd like to declare an interest on the same minute as a trustee of the Women's Community Matters. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
And myself as well, please, because I'm a trustee at Women's Community Matters.
Anybody else? No, thank you. Agenda item 4, minutes. You agree that the minutes of the meeting of the council held on the 16th of June 2020 is printed be approved as a correct record. The minutes should have been... Pardon? Agreed?
Chairman, I think Councillor Shirley has his hand up.
Councillor Shirley?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's just concerning page 10 of the minutes, reports of committees, item 14. At that meeting on 16th of June, Mr. Mayor, I asked a question of the Vice Chair of Planning, who gave a very useful response, which is omitted from the record. Could I respectfully request this be added, please, Mr. Mayor?
Is that okay, John?
if council agree to that, then yes, that'll be added to the minutes.
Council agree?
Agreed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does everyone agree with the correct record of the minutes, which will be signed at the next practical opportunity?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Thank you. Agenda item 5, public participation or requests to ask a question, make representations or present a deputation or petition the meeting. Agenda item 6, announcements. Are there any announcements from the chairman, leader or head of paid service? Nope.
No, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Agenda item 7, Barrow Furnace Town Investment Plan submission. I call upon the chairman of the executive committee, Councillor Brook.
Hi, thanks. Right, agenda item 7, Barrow Furnace Town Investment Plan submission. The report seeks agreement for the submission of the town investment plan for consideration of the government. The town investment plan is intended to provide a confident vision for the future of Barrow Furnace and the role of partners, community and government support in achieving this. The investment plan itself makes a case for investment in 7 key projects, which combined and aligned to wider opportunities have the potential to catalyse the transformation of the town and the ability of residents and businesses to see real benefit. The Town Deal Board considered that given the cohesiveness of the project, the level of development undertaken and their combined impact, this deal can make a major change. The largest single proposal is a very exciting one, the Barrow Learning Quarter, which would see the delivery of a new university campus and a skills hub in Barrow. This would increase access to higher education, help the town grow its role as a centre of excellence in manufacturing and clean growth, diversify opportunities, bolster the vibrancy of the town centre and enhance the perception of the town. And if we can actually get this through and get it supported, it will make a huge difference to the town. It's very exciting. So the delivery of these projects, to deliver them, we're seeking £29.4 million with a further £500,000 requested for programme support. Whilst offering a focus of individual schemes, the plan also seeks to present a long-term ambition and strategy for the continued and inclusive growth in Barrow. The Barrow in FURNESS Town Investment Plan is ready to be submitted for consideration by the Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government, placing Barrow amongst the first in the country to move forward. So I move that Council approves the submission of the Town Investment Plan to MHCLG. Subject to the agreement of heads of terms, the Council provides up to £100,000 to support the development of a full business cases required to access delivery funding. The funding will be reimbursed with the receipt of funding to deliver individual projects. To agree that Barrow Borough Council takes the role of accountable body for the investment plan, and to note that £162,019 of grant funding has been fully committed on consultancy services, business case development and community engagement, and has been supplemented by the major projects reserved to the value of £12,660. Probably, I read that out just in case you were wondering. I didn't just memorise it or make it up. So there you go.
Well done, Chair. Well done.
One out
Is there a
now.
second there?
I'll second it and reserve the right to speak, please.
Thanks, Lee. Are there any questions, comments or amendments to the recommendations? Councillor Shirley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just rise to lend my support to this bid and to pay credit to everybody who sat on the Town's Deal Investment Board, chaired by Steve Cole of BAE Systems, to our elected members and officers who are on there, and also our MP. It's very exciting for our town to be a part of this, in addition to future high street funding, borderland settlement and other inward investment, which we're bidding for from government as part of its agenda to level up towns like Barrow. So I just want to, as I say, conclude by saying I very much support this bid, wish it well, and thank you to everybody for the work that they've put in bringing this bid to council this evening.
Thanks, Ben. Councillor Hazel Edwards.
Yeah, straightforward one. Item 4, engagement. There have been consultations for opinions from the public, but could I ask, if we do not receive the full amount, bearing in mind that we've asked for more than is actually available, if we don't receive the full amount, which schemes will receive priority and which will be eliminated? Hopefully, this will be a full council decision.
Thanks, Hazel. Would you...
Chairman, can I just say something? It might be worthwhile if Michael Barry and Lauren, if they wish to speak first before councillors ask any questions.
I was just going to ask for the permission of Derek to do that. Would you like to come in, Michael?
Thanks. Thank you, councillor. We have a presentation if you'd like us to deliver that. Yes.
Well, I thought the presentation was on the next one. Future High Street. This is an investment plan.
There's presentations on both, Councillor Hamilton.
Well, it should have said that on the paper. Just before we bring the presentation in then, Liz, would you like to ask a question? You muted.
Yeah, it was some clarification around the Accelerated Towns Fund on page 18. It seeks this £750,000 from the government. It's going to be used for the acquisition of key sites to support the Marina Village, etc., future high streets, etc. When will we actually get some information of exactly what are the areas they're looking at and how this money is going to be spent? Obviously, I'm not expecting that to say we're going to buy such and such a building because of the commercial sensitivity of it, but I'd like some sort of breakdown on how this funding is going to go. Because 750,000 is a considerable chunk with no breakdown.
Thanks, Liz. Just before I bring Michael in or David in, there's another one, Ailey Preston.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted a quick one just to reiterate what Councillor Shirley said about thanking the officers that have worked really hard to get this fantastic deal in front of us today. Barrow has suffered, quite rightly so, over the years from austerity, and hopefully we've now got a chance to see some reverses in this suffering that we've had in our town. We often get bad press, we've got a bad reputation, which is so unjustifiable. We've now got that chance with this bid to develop Barrow into a vision of a Barrow that we already see, but that we can develop and hopefully retain some of our young people and train up lots of people to make a brilliant Barrow for the future. I'd just like to say again, all the projects are fabulous, and we've sat through lots of different presentations and we're all very clued up on those projects, and they're absolutely brilliant. In particular, the education quarter, improved housing, health opportunities. This is a vision for Barrow that we all deserve. It's a once in a generation opportunity, and I just now hope, now that we're passing over to the government, that we can get the Barrow that we deserve. Thank you.
Thanks, Ailey. Well said. So, with your permission, we'll go into the presentation and come back to the recommendation and the motion. Is that all right?
Thank you, Councillor. So I'm being joined today by Lauren Newby, who is an Associate Director at Hatchery Generous, and Lauren has led on she's an economist and who's played a huge role in the development of the economic strategy, which is the town deal. I'm going to ask Lauren to share her screen now, and we'll quickly bring you through the slides.
Let me know when you can see it.
See it.
Great.
Fantastic. 1 second. Thank you. So we're here today just to bring you a quick update on the content of the town investment plan. In terms of context, in September 2019, it was confirmed that Barrow and FURNESS was among 101 towns that was to be invited to bring forward a town deal. Through this, a case for investment in the town can be made, this being articulated through an evidenced town investment plan. The development of that plan must be overseen by a town deal board with Barrow Borough Council as council body for funding received. The development of a town deal will come forward in 2 phases. The first phase focuses on the submission of a town investment plan containing a set of projects and concluding with the agreement of heads of terms. Following this, there will be a requirement to develop full business cases through which the delivery funding will be accessed. The town investment plan itself was agreed at the meeting of the town deal board on the 24th of July 2020. And in developing the plan, the board have promoted an ambitious approach with the first meeting of the board agreeing to create a plan development group to oversee the technical development of the plan alongside a communications and engagement group responsible for preparing and implementing communications activity. Lauren, if you want to click on please to the third slide, please. Now, in developing the plan and supported by those structures, a clear process was established. The first key step was to establish a clear socioeconomic narrative, setting out why Barrow needs town deal investment. Supported by that, it was then possible to establish a vision and objectives for the town investment plan. And supported by public engagement activity and the aspirations and objectives of the vision, it was possible to create a long list of possible projects. These were then tested against critical success factors before a short list of prioritised investments were arrived at and agreed. Since then, these projects have been developed with strategic outline business cases, and they come together now within the town investment plan you're considering today. In shaping the plan, if you click on please, Lauren, to the context slide, the socioeconomic narrative was a critical consideration. I think what's clear is that Barrow is a town of distinction. It is actually at the very forefront of shipbuilding and innovation and clean growth in the country. The town has significant opportunities. There's a number of major assets in the town and supported by major investments, and these are a platform for long-term growth. These are set alongside some quite significant challenges. There is areas of acute deprivation, and there is challenges around, in particular, the benefits of opportunities and growth not being felt by all. So what emerged from the socioeconomic narrative was that there's 5 key areas and focus for this plan. We need to understand how we can support critical infrastructure. We can support and capitalise on Barrow's clean growth potential, the importance of establishing a supportive business environment, the creation of thriving places, and ensuring that people have the skills and opportunities to capitalise on the success of the town. And this is reflected in the vision established for the town investment plan. And that is to build on our economic strengths, rich industrial heritage, natural beauty and sense of community, develop a town that is economically dynamic and diverse, sitting at the forefront of innovation and green growth, and viewed as a great place to live, study, work, visit, and home to a healthy population that can deliver a prosperous, inclusive and fair future.
Michael, could I just interrupt that?
Yes.
The presentation doesn't seem to be moving along. It's just stuck on the first page.
Oh dear.
Is that the case for everyone?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let me, sorry, wait a minute, I'll stop sharing and I'll just restart. Sorry about that. Okay. Is there a slide with the vision in front of you now? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. So, supported by that vision, the town deal board agreed a number of 3 key pillars for the town deal, and that was to create an inclusive economy, to support Barrow's credentials as a centre of excellence for clean growth, and to ensure Barrow is a thriving and healthy place. And these in turn underpinned 10 broad objectives for the deal. These were to put residents at the centre of public service delivery, to build on our strengths to help Barrow become a centre of excellence and innovation for advanced manufacturing and clean growth, to create a resilient local economy through greater diversification, enhanced competitiveness, and providing a wider range of quality employment opportunities, to grow the working age population by creating an attractive and vibrant place to live, work, and visit, to equip people with the skills and confidence to achieve their potential and take full advantage of opportunities, to strengthen progression pathways through a dynamic and integrated approach to school, further and higher education, to reduce deprivation and improve the physical and mental health and well-being of our community, to be digitally connected and physically accessible town supported by walking, cycling and public transport, to deliver a more diverse and attractive housing offer while ensuring the continued renewal of our existing stock, and to achieve a vibrant town centre, leisure and service offer supporting the role of Barrow as a regional centre while enhancing our rich built and cultural heritage. I'm now going to hand over to Lauren, who's just going to bring you through the projects and in particular just draw out some of the key benefits arising from those.
Okay, thanks, Michael. So just before I do that, I just want to highlight the importance of the town investment plan aligning with the prevailing policy of environment. particularly with regards to local, sub-regional and national policy drivers. And I think just really to sort of draw out the importance of how our plan aligns with those key themes, particularly around economic recovery, economic resilience, sustainability, global reach, and partnerships and collaboration all being really implicit in our plan and our approach. So if I just take you through a quick overview of each project in turn, you can see on the screen in front of you the Barrow Learning Quarter project. And this is the creation of the new university campus in Barrow to support key sectors, supporting diversification of the economy and enhancing competitiveness of the business base. There's a Towns Fund request of 13.4 million for this project. The lead organisation is the University of Cumbria, working in collaboration with FURNESS College. In terms of the benefits that this will lever, it will be a project that will be highly responsive to local skills needs. It will increase collaboration with key employers, ensuring that Barrow has a demand-led skills system. What it will deliver in terms of outputs include an additional 5,000 level 3 learners by 2040. So we're taking a 20-year view of the benefits of this plan, and an additional 18,100 level 4 learners. The benefits of this project have been appraised based on productivity benefits of the increased numbers of higher education and level 3 students within the Barrow economy. And as such, that will leave approximately 60 million additional net gross value added, which will be secured by 2040. And in addition, there will be some significant broader impacts from the development of the Learning Quarter, including impacts around regeneration and placemaking, and the development of Barrow as a centre of excellence for innovation and learning. And this project is estimated to deliver a really good return on investment. We're looking at a benefit cost ratio of 4, which means for every £1 of investment that the Towns Fund puts into this project, we'll realise £4 in return. Moving on to the next project, which is community wellbeing hubs. Now, this, as you may be aware, involves the establishment of a network of local community wellbeing hubs where families of all ages throughout their whole life can develop their skills and confidence, access services and employment pathways, and come together to build thriving communities. It falls under the town's funding theme of skills and enterprise. It has a request of 4.5 million to that fund, and the lead organisation is Cumbria County Council, working in collaboration with Barrow Borough Council. It will deliver 3 new community hubs and 1 new outdoor activity centre at Turnsey Bay. It will deliver benefits, particularly around the number of learners assisted. It will include impacts around digital inclusion, physical activity benefits, particularly benefits associated with individuals participating in mild and moderate exercise, and how that will therefore contribute to good health outcomes. There will also be a number of wider benefits that this project will deliver around skills, mental health and wellbeing, which haven't been captured by this initial economic appraisal, but will be developed as the project progresses to outline business case. I think it's important to note with this project that it will be tailored to local needs, and therefore it will be community-led really in terms of the offer within each centre. So as the business case develops to full business case, we will develop the detail of each centre, and in turn that will enable us to provide a much more detailed economic impact assessment. But nevertheless, the assumptions that we've made around delivering a social return on investment identify impacts of 10.7 million, and that delivers an estimated benefit cost ratio which is considered good at 2 to 1. The third project that falls under the Townsdeal Fund theme of skills and enterprise is for a programme of business and enterprise support. This project is focused on developing a supportive business environment in Barrow, aimed at boosting enterprise activity, with a focus helping the town to become a centre of excellence and innovation for advanced manufacturing and clean growth. The programme will provide enhanced support for residents of Barrow to start their own businesses and for the development of more community-based businesses. The project will deliver an estimated 3.1 million in net economic benefits and a return on investment of £3.40 for every £1 invested, which, according to Treasury's guidance, represents good value for money. And in addition to these quantifiable benefits, the programme will also provide positive impacts around social cohesion and civic participation and individual well-being, particularly via the development of community businesses, helping to enhance social glue. We'll see the development of collaborations between businesses, organisations and residents in the community, and improved perception of Barrow as a place to start and grow a business. And we'll also see the development of new technologies, products and processes as businesses access new opportunities in the BAE system, supply chain and other broader opportunities within the town. The fourth project is a housing market renewal project. This is focused on key areas of need in the town, potentially including Barrow Island and Hindpool Central areas. It could include refurbishment, redevelopment and improvements to public spaces and homes, together with complementary skills and training activity. And this programme will include property improvements such as energy efficiency, aesthetic enhancements, property assembly and refurbishment, and community-led public realm and design improvements. The town's fund request is 4 million. The lead organisation is Barrow Borough Council. The outputs that this programme will deliver include up to 220 homes improved and 39 commercial properties with shopfronts improved, in addition to 3,500 square metres of public realm delivered. And that will lead to a social return on investment of 7.3 million, delivering an initial benefit cost ratio of 1.7. There are other wider impacts that haven't been captured in this assessment around how it will contribute towards uplift in the Barrow property market and house prices, and also clean growth impacts due to a significant investment in making the town's housing stock more energy efficient. And we'll also see a contribution to an improved perception of Barrow as a place to live. Marina Village, a project that I know you'll know very well. And this project, again, falls under the town's fund theme of urban regeneration and land use. And it has a gap funding request to the town's fund of 1 million, the lead organisation being Barrow Borough Council. The site will deliver high quality housing alongside leisure, retail and cultural development. And it will deliver outputs including 26 hectares of brownfield site remediated, up to 550 homes delivered, in addition to outputs around such as 3.3 hectares of mixed use commercial space, 6.3 hectares of land for nature conservation. And that will contribute to a £19.9 million land value uplift, alongside benefits associated with clean growth, enhanced townscape that is more attractive and accessible, and will deliver an estimated benefit cost ratio, which is considered medium. And I've got two more projects I just want to take you through swiftly. Firstly, the Brilliant Barrow Place Development Project. And this is a project which seeks to build on Barrow's heritage and attractive setting through a programme of events and activities that will help to develop the visitor economy. And that includes supporting and improving our existing heritage and cultural assets and visitor attractions, capitalising on our proximity to the Lake District, and maximising opportunities to the local economy by providing jobs in tourism, retail and food and drink sectors, It will also include feasibility work into the potential of a major attraction in Barrow for sports, leisure and culture. The lead organisation is Barrow Borough Council, and there's a request of 1 million to the town's fund. We identify that this will lead to a social return on investment of 2.4 million, with the events generating a greater sense of belonging for residents of Barrow and attracting visitors to the town. Other outputs include footfall of at least 50,000 in Barrow Town Centre, additional local spend and charity donations, and contributing to an increased sense of pride and belonging, increased health and well-being. And this delivers a social return on investment of 2.4 million and a benefit cost ratio of 2.3 to 1, delivering good value for money. And then finally, the local cycling and walking infrastructure programme, which is a transformative programme of walking and cycling infrastructure improvements within Barrow. The programme would include measures such as enhanced cycle and footways, cycle hubs at key locations, pedestrian improvements at the town centre and junction improvements to support active travel. It falls under the Towns Fund theme of connectivity and has a Towns Fund request of 4.5 million. The lead organisation is Cumbria County Council. The outputs that this project will deliver include 11.5 kilometres of cycle provision, and that will secure web tag benefits of 27.3 million. And those benefits link to a range of impacts associated with an increase in active modal use, including modal shift, health and journey quality. And we'll see uplifts in cycling equating to approximately 5,000 additional cycle trips per year, improved sustainable and affordable transport options, and an estimated benefit cost ratio, which is very good at a BCR of 6.2 against the scheme costs of 4.5 million. So if I pass back to you at this interval, Michael.
Yes, thank you. So on the next slide, within the plan, you'll have seen this diagram yourself, which tries to capture the spatial links between the projects. What's clear is that there's a lot happening in Barrow already, and with these projects, there's a real opportunity to coalesce and try and build on these opportunities in a kind of a cohesive and comprehensive way. You're shortly going to hear about the Future High Street Fund proposals, and what this project, what the town deal does is it synchronizes and links very, very closely to it. So it deals with key opportunities that can support the operation of town centre, and hopefully the projects will prove mutually beneficial to one another. So I think when it's all boiled down, our ask of the town deal is for £29.9 million of additional investment around those projects. I think the key point, and I think it's a very helpful position to be in at this point, is that for every £1 of Towns Fund investment, we're confident we can return £4.4 in additional benefits, and that means the town deal would equate to being very good value for money. In developing the plan, there was a significant emphasis on community consultation and engagement. COVID-19 created challenges, and we worked extremely hard to reach out, making the most of online opportunities. You may be aware of the #BrilliantBarrow website, which has been a key focus. And across 3 phases of engagement activity, we had over 960 unique posts and responses provided, both at a strategic level, but also at a project level. And moving forward, we are looking to continue with this engagement activity. We want to make sure that we maintain focus, momentum, but also engagement around the key projects. And as they move forward, each project will in turn have its own engagement plan. So while we are submitting the deal this week, the engagement process will continue on, recognizing that this is only the first step in a 2-stage process. I think that's an important point, that submission of this deal isn't the end of the process. It's an important milestone, I will say, though. And once submitted, the immediate focus will turn to addressing the due diligence process surrounding the deal and hopefully pushing for the earliest possible agreement of heads of terms. And with those, we would then have clarity from government on which projects it wishes to support, and we would look to progress the progression of full business cases through which delivery funding will be unlocked. To ensure the council is ready to do this, it is recommended that £100,000 of reserve be allocated to enable progression of projects being led by Barrow Borough Council, and this will be eligible for repayment once those projects are contracted following the agreement of the full business case. And I would also add that, mindful of Barrow's role as council body within the deal, £500,000 is requested for programme support. So I hope that's helpful, and I think we're happy to take any questions or receive any comments on the proposals as presented.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Lauren. Absolutely brilliant presentation. Can you remove the presentation so I can see people, please? That's better. Land of the living. So, pardon? Thought so. Leslie, you put your hand up again.
Certainly.
Chair, Councillor Hall has already spoken on the motion. You're not allowed to speak more than once on a motion when it's on the table.
Well, even I was actually thinking about it was a figure that was quoted in the presentation, which we saw for the first time.
Thanks, John. Any further hands up? Councillor McEwen.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, thank you for that presentation. Absolutely fantastic, as always, Michael. Well, I welcome all this that's going on. It's well overdue for the town. We really, really need all this new stuff all being built and all going up. The only thing I've got concerns about, maybe answer it or you can't answer it, I'm looking at the Marina Village, high quality housing, great stuff. Welcome that as well. There's never ever a mention about social housing. Now, we've lost since 1981 over 1 million social houses were lost in this country. Not saying they're all in Barrow, but we've lost all them. And in 2019, only 6,000 were built, or just over 6,000 were built. I mean, it's a big, big loss. And this was all brought on 1981. This was the Margaret Thatcher era, and the right to buy. That's fine. The right to buy is okay, but we're not producing more houses with the right to buy, and we're going to lose more housing stock. It went on to say in the presentation, social housing stock will be more efficient. We're losing more housing, it won't be any more efficient. So is there anything we're doing about social housing? Today it came out that local government committee says we need 90,000 social houses a year. Per year we need them. And this COVID price thing that's happened, we're in strange times, it's going to cause more and more homeless people, and we need more social housing. I'm all for this, don't get me wrong. Fantastic news for Barrow, absolutely brilliant, but I still think we should be talking somewhere in there about social housing. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Bill. Councillor Morgan.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to highlight number 4 in the report on page 20 about the community consultation and engagement. I think one of the things that I'd like to highlight is that local people have been given the opportunity to shape this plan and decide what's best for our town. They know better than anyone what makes our town unique. This plan presented today provides a clear vision to transform our town for the benefit of generations to come, generations of local people to come. And I really welcome the plan and the recommendations, and I really look forward to more engagement and development on each of the projects as they go forward. So I just wanted to really highlight that I thought that was an exemplary part of the plan, the presentation and the report, you know, the engagement of local people. Thank you.
Thanks, Bev. Councillor Burns.
Thank you, Chair. And I just want to reiterate what people have been saying. I've seen this presentation a few times now, and I'm sorry if Councillor Hall, if that's the first time you've seen it, but you must be excited by the vision that it portrays, because I'm certainly excited. When we call it Brilliant Barrow, it's the right name for it, because Barrow is a brilliant place to live and to have your children grow up and hopefully have them retained here in Barrow with their talent and everything. They're looking forward to the future. This vision that that's been put together here is about the future for our young people. It's about a university campus. It's about actually retaining the skills and the talents that we've got here in the area, instead of our young people having to leave the area, and hopefully we can look for that for the future. It is about good housing, and I take what Councillor McEwen said. I think we should have a mix of that housing, and perhaps that's something we should be looking at going to the future. But at the moment, this deal was actually highlighting the fact that we needed to spend it on Marina Village, or housing that we've talked about for a number of years. And it has been on the horizon over a vast number of years, about developing that marina and the Marina Village down there. I don't want that to just be a housing plot. I want it to be the marina, and I think this is the first step on the way to actually creating the Marina Village vision that we had a number of years ago, 10, 15 years ago, that I can remember. So this is the first step on the way. It is about jobs and it is about education. And what more could we as councillors want to say for the future for our town? So we're talking about housing, we're talking about education, jobs and future for our young people and the health and well-being for them. So I think it's a brilliant document. I think it's been so well put together, and I want to thank the officers, as Hurley Preston said earlier, for actually doing this and having that vision that's taking this forward. So I absolutely support this, and hopefully we'll get the money to portray this going forward for the future. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Dan. Councillor Shirley.
Thanks, Chairman. Just a point of order. I know Councillor Hall can speak for himself, but it seems a bit unfair, Mr. Mayor, that we weren't aware that this presentation was coming, and Councillor Hall clearly has a question on the matter of the presentation. So could I implore you to consider allowing councillors to have the opportunity to scrutinise the presentation and make comment as appropriate?
That's of it.
I'm sorry, Ben, but rules are rules. I didn't know about the presentation neither. Anybody else? Lee, would you like to come in and seconder?
Chair, you've got Councillor
Callister, yeah.
Councillor Callister.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just taking on board some of the comments that I've actually heard. This has been coming for many months. There's been many presentations put together, much discussion. We've taken on board what people within the locality would like. I think you've got to give yourself a little bit of a shake if you're not aware of what's going on. This is, again, I've sat through this presentation this evening for the umpteenth time because I'm genuinely excited. And I think I can speak on behalf of my Labour group that we are genuinely, probably wrong term, frothing at the mouth with excitement about how good our town can actually be moving forward. We don't have this hashtag Brilliant Barrow just for the sod of it. We've got it because we actually mean it. So as a Labour group moving forward, and myself, to be proud to be part of this vehicle, taking it forward, it's exciting. The presentation this evening, professional, concise, and I tell you what, this is given an exciting opportunity for our locality. Thanks for all the officers for putting the hard work in. This is a great time for Barrow, without a shadow of a doubt. Thank you.
Thanks, Tony. Lee?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. What pleased me when we got the opportunity to put a bid together, the way it's shaped up, it's ambitious, and all the projects are linked together and they're connected and not standalone, which would have been an easy thing to do and just address individual problems. The way they link together, also with the future high streets and the newly announced Heritage Action Zone funding that we've secured. The pleasing thread through this is it addresses the generational issues of poverty and health inequalities and the lack of the community wealth, which has blighted the town for years, alongside the low take-up of further education. So it does actually address all the generational and historic issues of the town, which previous attempts to resolve haven't achieved. it's aligned with COVID recovery, which is, it was interesting that when the plan was put together before the pandemic, it was looked at and assessed with a view to the COVID recovery, and nothing changed. So to me, that's a really good indicator that it was right in the first place. It was addressing the right things in the right way. I think that was a good sign. There's a line in it says about putting residents at the centre of service delivery, and it sounds obvious, but we don't do that enough. And to have that as an ambition through all the projects, I think it just means it'd be more chance of success. The Townsdale board comprises of a lot of partners, and I really hope that even beyond this bid, they stay connected with the town and the council, and they help us move the town forward in everything we do, not just this bid. So I think that partnership work is important, and it's actually proved how successful it can be during this bid. I want to address a couple of points that was made. The leader of the Conservative group mentioned the project's being scaled back. But if the government are serious about levelling up places like Barrow, then this bid, it aligns with all their priorities on health, on economic growth, climate change, and the green agenda. So, and it's, as Lauren said, and Michael, it's considered good value for money using the social economic analysis. So if government are serious about levelling up this place, then this bid should be successful, because it will deliver everything this area needs. So it's a pleasure and an absolute privilege to second the motion. And finally, I want to endorse, I know it's been said, but it's worth saying again, a huge amount of hard work has gone into doing this bid under extremely challenging circumstances in a very difficult timescale. So everybody involved in it, not just officers, even the public who've managed to contribute through social media, but also the partners on the board. So it's been a massive effort, and I think it's the quality of the bid just speaks for itself. Thank you.
Thanks, Lee. Would you like to say something, Derek? You did the move of the motion.
Yeah, I guess I better reply to a couple of the questions. On Councillor Edwards' question about what will happen if we don't get all the money, I kind of guess that when the government replies to our bid, they will have some conditions on it if they're not going to give us all the money. I'll be really surprised if they just say, well, we'll give you half of it or 3/4 of it. I'll be really surprised if it's as simple as that. I think it will be a negotiation, but hopefully they'll give us the lot, and we'll be able to do it. Some of that stuff is really, really exciting. And personally, I mean, the thought of having a university campus here so that young people can come to Barrow instead of all leaving, you know, young people here can still have the choice, but that will make a massive difference to this town. You can tell when you go somewhere where there's a university campus and there's young people. And we've had this strange age distribution for a long time, and to bring that back to normal so we get some young people coming here and not just leaving would be fantastic. But I'm hoping the government will agree at all. Who knows? But if they don't, I'll be really surprised if they say just give us a percentage with no conditions on it. I don't think it'll be entirely up to us to pick and choose what happens, but I might be wrong. Let's just see, and we'll wait for the check, or I suppose nowadays it'll go straight into our bank account, won't it? Or the safe in Sue or Sam's office. Right, I've got another one here. Les asked, what did you ask? I've written it down and I've turned the page over. The £750,000, we'll be having further discussion on it. We haven't, there's a general statement in there about what it will be, what it will go for. We'll have further discussions on it. It won't just be spent, and it will be up to us and the Townsdale board, I presume, to sort out the detail. And with regard to your other question, I kind of understand really, because the presentation, you're asking your question before the presentation. I'll be very kind, and you can ask me it later under item 12 when it has the report of the minutes, I think, for the executive committee, because there was a report to the executive committee. So you can try me on there if you want, and I'll see if I can answer it. Or if not, I'll give you the standard. We'll get you it in writing. But you can ask it later, Les. Sorry about that. All right. So I've moved it, and somebody seconded it.
Yeah. So can I ask the head of Legal's Democratic Services, take a roll call, please.
Thank you, Chair. The motion has been moved by Councillor Brooke and seconded by Councillor Roberts. Please respond with for, against, abstain. Councillors Assood?
For.
Barlow? Biggins?
For.
Brooke?
For.
Burns?
For.
Callister?
For.
Cassidy?
For.
Edwards D?
For.
Edwards H?
For.
Gorn? Hall?
For.
Hamilton?
For.
Husband?
For.
Johnston?
For.
McEwen?
For.
McLeavy?
For.
Maddox?
For.
Morgan?
For.
Knott?
For.
Pemberton?
For.
Preston?
For.
Roberts?
For.
Robson?
For.
Ronson?
For.
Seward?
For.
Shirley?
For.
Thompson A?
For.
Thompson C?
For.
Wall?
For.
That's carried unanimously, Chair.
Thanks, Sean. Agenda item 8, Barrow Future High Street Business Fund Business. Case submission, a short presentation will be given by Helen Houston and David Offin, the right way around this time.
Oh, good.
David?
Thank you, Chairman. Helen's going to present the first 2 slides and I'll follow on from there. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good evening, everyone. I'm delighted to be here to present about another opportunity for funding for Barrow. I'm going to provide some background information on the Future High Street Fund, on our submission for that fund, and then I'll hand over to David, who will explain a little bit about the components of our submission and the recommendations for this report. So we'd like to show some slides, if you just bear with me 1 second. Hopefully that's worked now.
Yeah.
So just as background, in 2018, the government sought expressions of interest from local authorities who could benefit from funding to support the transformation of their high streets and town centres. Barrow Borough Council submitted an expression of interest and were identified as one of 100 towns in the country who were invited to bid for up to £25 million from the Future High Street Fund. The government have sought business cases from each of those 100 towns, with the deadline for the submission of the business case of the 31st of July 2020. So since 2019, we've been developing proposals for our bid, and we've done 2 consultations with the public in January and February of 2020, and also done a lot of work with stakeholders and other partners in order to formulate our submission. The government's asking us to produce a bid which promotes the regeneration of town centres through innovative proposals to create vibrant town centres where people live, shop, use services and spend their leisure time. There is a renewed emphasis on experience, and they should include capital projects that can bring about transformational change to the town centre. Our proposal is an ambitious, high-impact package that will transform the accessibility, character and attractiveness of the town centre and increase footfall. Recognising that the role of the town centre and high streets has changed in recent years, we've moved away from the traditional retail and towards a town centre that has quality facilities, good leisure and food and beverage offer, and that promotes well-being for our residents and visitors. Our proposal is about providing a great experience in our town centre by modernising and revitalising the Market Hall, by opening our beautiful and iconic Town Hall building to the public, by creating outdoor space in the Town Hall on land, at the Town Square on land to the south of the Town Hall, that can be used for events, leisure and play. By improving access to these attractions and connecting them to each other and to the rest of the town through better transport options and connectivity. I'm going to hand over to David now to run through the each of the projects.
Thank you, Helen. So as you can see on the overarching master plan, our future high street proposals are an integrated and transformational package of projects which will create a vibrant civic, leisure and cultural heart to Barrow, diversifying the town's offer and supporting visitors to be able to better explore and use the town's wide offer. It's made up of a number of components, as my colleague Helen has mentioned, and that includes the indoor market and re-establishing that as a vibrant and bright and welcoming market hall, including supporting existing stallholders to thrive and attracting new permanent and temporary stallholders to locate in the market and use it as an incubator for businesses to test their potential of the town for their products, broaden the offer to include more food and drink experiences, and showcase products made in Barrow and diversify uses. The aim is to make use of the market as an indoor destination, part of the town's retail offer where people can shelter in good or bad weather. And other potential uses are being considered as well, including establishing a cycle hub in the facility. And Barrow's Town Hall is Grade 2 listed, as you'll know, and it's very much a jewel in the crown of our town. We want to establish the Town Hall as a thriving public building, well connected to the high street, to create a place that says you have arrived in the centre of Barrow. A historic but dynamic town offering a great range of activities. And in the next coming slides, I'll tell you a bit more about what's going to be integrated into the Town Hall facility. And then we have Barrow's Town Square. We want to harness the attractive gardens and the car park at the Town Hall to create attractive new uses and activity in the town, providing everyday recreation and leisure space and supporting an extended calendar of events across the year, attracting visitors, families and tourists. This will support new footfall and a step change in the perception of Barrow, and as part of the Future High Street Fund package, ensure that we are seen as an exciting destination within Cumbria. And then finally, we have the central transit hub and bus improvements. Currently, when you arrive at the Town Hall, you all know that the bus drops people off on a bend with limited guidance on what the town has to offer. But we want to establish a new high-quality arrival point to the town between the Town Hall and the Market Hall, which will create an exceptional sense of arrival. If Helen, you move to the next slide. So on this slide, this is showing an artist's impression of the Duke Street elevation of the Market Hall. You'll see that by recladding the building, we're transforming the character of the Market Hall, allowing people to look inside and see what's on offer. We're also, by enhancing the public realm at Duke Street and Portland Walk entrances, it'll help draw people into this new facility. And the next slide, Helen. So inside the Market Hall, the new cladding will make the market light and airy. New stalls, flooring, decoration, enhanced ventilation will provide a high quality experience for visitors to the market. Not only will the market provide high quality space for existing and new store holders, but it will also offer a soft play centre, a food hall, a small event space, and will also be providing a new toilet facilities, prayer room, breastfeeding and changing spaces, as well on the first floor providing new workspace, but also a food and drink offer, which will allow people to eat and drink while looking at the beautiful Town Hall. And in the final slide, please, Helen. So in the Town Hall, we'll be reinstating the reception, which will also include digital displays, which will allow people to explore what services they can access and find out what the Town Hall has to offer. An exhibition space will be created on the ground floor for both permanent and temporary displays. And there will also be co-working spaces to enable public and third sector organisations to work collaboratively. We also propose to relocate registrars from the Nan Tate Centre and provide a small ceremony room. but on the first floor, the drawing room and the banqueting hall can be utilised to host larger weddings, conferences and events to complement the offer at the forum. And in the town square, it'll also be possible to host weddings outdoors, but also will be providing high quality public gardens, an iconic play park showing off our shipbuilding heritage, and provide a flexible event space. We'll be upgrading the public realm on Cornwallis Street and Market Street to stimulate investment in the existing buildings. And on Duke Street, buses will be able to drop off outside the town hall and people will have easy access to the town hall, market and Portland Walk. We've held 2 consultation events with the public to ensure that the projects we've included in our business case meet the needs of the public, but also demonstrate to government that they'll have a large impact in the town centre, attracting more people into the town centre and hopefully for them to stay longer and spend more money in the local economy. So, as you'll be aware, we have been producing an outline business case which sets out all these sub-projects, and we've also done a lot of work looking at the costs, and they've gone through a number of verification checks to ensure that the cost estimate that we provided meets the standard and to ensure that we can deliver this exciting project for Barrow and FURNESS. And that's all, Chair.
Right, thanks, David, Helen. And again, like the previous, some very exciting possibilities ahead for us. Long overdue, bringing Barrow into the 21st century. I think the idea that, you know, just replacing a few shops and doing up a few shops isn't the way to make our town centre lively and support the existing businesses that are already there. So I'm going to formally move that the council agree delegated authority be given to the Director of People and Place in consultation with the Chief Executive, Director of Resources and Leader of the Council to submit a business case for the Barrow Future High Street project based on the proposal outlined in the report. 2, to agree that if the bid is successful, the council will provide up to £1 million of co-funding to invest in the Future High Street Fund project, with the funding to be repaid from new income generation activities or reductions in existing subsidies. 3, to agree that if the bid is successful, council agrees the inclusion of up to £25 million of project funding in the capital programme for 2021. 4, to agree that if it's successful, the Borough Council will act as the accountable body for the funding. 5, to note that £150,000 of grant funding to reach this stage of the business case has been fully committed on consultancy services and has been supplemented by the major projects reserve of £4,330. And 6, to authorise the Chief Executive in consultation with the Director of Resources, Leader and Chair of the Executive Committee to enter into a grant funding agreement with MHCLG.
Thanks, Eric. I was just about to call you.
Sorry?
I was just about to call you, see if you want to move it.
Mr. Mayor, point of order, Mr. Mayor. Are you taking questions now?
I'm asking for the seconder first.
Okay, right.
I'll second it and reserve the right to speak, please.
Thanks, Lee. Councillor Edwards.
Yeah, okay. Agenda item 8, page 79, Future High Street Fund, summary and conclusions. On page 11 of the Future High Street Fund call for proposals, the original paper, it says we expect projects to be co-funded by public and private sector. Nowhere can I see any private sector funding. It also says that there has to be a proven involvement with the private sector. Will this affect our bid? Because I can't see it.
Who's going to...
Do you want me to answer that, Chair?
Yes, please, David.
Yeah, please.
Thank you. I can just confirm that I think that we have been engaging with the private sector throughout the bid proposal. And what's recognised is, particularly I think even more so with the recent pandemic, is that our focus has been primarily on utilising publicly owned buildings and public infrastructure. The reason being is that this allows us to move quickly and make a step change in the town, rather than having to rely on private sector to move on some of the key proposals in the area. However, what I would say is we have had a significant amount of engagement and continue to have that engagement with private sector partners to ensure that they are fully involved in the process. And a number of the proposals that we have put forward, particularly around Market Street and Cornwallis Street, has been done taking into account to the fact that we want to promote private sector investment in these areas of the town.
Thank you.
Thanks, David. Tony, Councillor Callister.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor, and thanks, David, for answering that question. I mean, that's the answer that you're given there, David, has been pretty much apparent since day one of this whole process that we've got to here. So I've got to say again, you know, people aren't aware of what's going on. You really do need to give yourself a shake. But I mean, the forethought and energy of both the officers and again the Labour group to realise this opportunity is of the highest level. And this is more testimony of the drive we have as a Labour group. So, I mean, well done, everybody. But these aren't just ideas picked out of the sky. They're carefully thought out, consulted ideas. And I mean, just to top it off, it's a case of roll on, next gen, brilliant Barrow. Thank you.
Thanks, Tony. Councillor Hall.
Yeah, so we'll cut the party politics aside, like Tony likes to have his little dig. One thing that concerns me is if you look at page 87, about the money we spent on the consultants. What I found worrying is when you look at the National Audit Office report into our bid, we're only ranked 68th out of 100 in the country, and we're not in the top tier. So that's why we're asking the question, is there something missing from our bid that we need to get sorted out now to give ourselves a better chance? We're not even top in the second tier. You've all had the opportunity to read the Audit Office report. It's available online, and it's quite salutary reading in parts. And 68 out of 100 is not where I was hoping Barrow's bid would be. I was hoping it would be a lot further on. So the question that Hazel asked was quite right. Is that down to the fact we've missed something, we've missed private development or whatever, because we want this to succeed? And at the moment, I say I'm disappointed in where we are in the audit report.
Thanks, Liz. Anybody?
Do you want me to respond? Oh, sorry.
Do you want me to come in and pick that one up?
Yes,
Mr.
please.
Mayor? Just very briefly, and we can give a full written response, but the National Audit Office report set out how the government selected the towns that it asked to develop a Townsdeal bid. So it's for Townsdeal, not for Future High Street. And it's how they selected the 100 towns. So the fact that we were in the top 100 means that we're one of the 100 towns that was selected. It doesn't impact on where we're ranked now or where our bid will rank. It's how the government made its decision on how the 100 towns were selected in the first place. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam. Councillor Burns.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you for that, Sam. It's really true. But being a member of the board and listening to these proposals as they've built over quite some time now, you can see the partners around the table how exciting this whole issue is. I mean, when we talked about Brilliant Barrow, this actually goes hand in hand with the previous agenda item, because this is actually looking at our town hall as it should be looked at as the major building in our town. It's a fabulous building, and everything that revolves around it, we shouldn't actually walk away from the fact that we've got such an asset as we've got in that town hall, and it should be utilised. It isn't there as closed doors and for people to sit in an office. It's there for the people of Barrow to actually get in there and see what heritage that they've got and how we can use that to actually take the town forward. And as for the market, a lot of places have closed their markets down. We've still got ours. I wish we had the old one, but we haven't. So we've got this one, which is a booming area for people that are starting the businesses, for incubating businesses, and for actually getting people involved, and lots of people go into that market and enjoy it. And for the areas around there for recreation. So I'm really, really grateful for the work that's gone into this, because I believe that it's another good bid going forward. But as for Les and Hazel, I've got to say to you that partners that are on that board at the last meeting we had were all congratulating the officers and congratulating this bid coming from Barrow, because they were all saying what a first-class bid this is, and especially the LEP with Jo Lapp in there, who was actually praising what was going on. She was saying, and she's sat on all the boards in other parts of the area as well, where we've taken this forward, and she was praising the way that this is ready to go now, and there's a lot of good work gone on and a good initiative in there. So I just, you know, I think if it's not successful, I don't understand why, because as Hazel and as Anne Thompson and a lot more, I've sat on other boards and initiatives where we've won in Barrow, like the Heart of Barrow and Neighbourhood Renewal. We've had all of that, and we've sat with those bids going forward. This is as good, if not better, than some of those bids going forward. So I'm really quite excited about the future around here. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Anne. Councillor Shirley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As we know, high streets are changing. This is an exciting bid, and I just want to lend my voice to the encouraging words that have been given to the officers that have dedicated the time to putting this bid together and on time or ahead of schedule. Barrow, if this bid comes off and if Townsdale comes off, then Barrow is going to become a real destination. We're no longer a gateway to the lakes. We're a place where people will want to come and visit and stay and spend money and contribute to our local economy. And I see this bid playing a huge part of that philosophy. I just wondered if the Chief Exec or Chair of Exec might wish to comment on the Council's appetite to continue to work together with government and the private sector to upgrade areas of the town centre, such as Market Street, Cornwallis Street, for example, which, with all due respect, do need updating. And also, will they remember the rural areas, such as the ward that I represent of Dalton North, to ensure that the benefits of this fund are felt right across the borough?
Thanks, Ben. Councillor McEwen.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, just to add on to what everybody else is saying, this is another great initiative for this town. It's opening the town up big time, and this is what we've really wanted for a lot of years. And just to add on to what Anne said about the town hall, great building, it's there, open it up. It's for the people, it belongs to the people, that building. Let them get in and see it and use it and put stuff inside it. And talking about the market, well, it's a great market as it is. It's got great staff, it's welcoming everybody in, and with this great modernisation, I think it will bring more footfall into it. Absolutely fantastic for the town, great initiative. And this has got to be successful because this team's worked really hard, right across the board, officers, the whole lot. So well done, Barrow, and well done, the team. Well done. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks. Steve Robson.
Hello, at my hand, Chair.
Oh, yeah. Any more hands up?
Point of order,
Lee?
Mr. Mayor. Apologies.
Did Councillor Shirley have a point of order?
Yes, please, Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Go on then.
I asked a question, Mr. Mayor. With all due respect, I just wondered if that could be put to the chair of the exec or head of pit services.
Yeah, well, the chair of the executive, he's got to sum up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
So calm down, calm down. Lee, do you want to come to the seconder?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. you're doing well today. We're giving you a lot of challenges, aren't we? First thing I want to say is, following on from the previous agenda item, I hope this doesn't get overshadowed, because obviously it's easy to do that because the other bid's sort of bigger in scale and a wider area. But similar to the other, the Townsdale bid, this is ambitious, and it's connects up the projects. Again, it would have been easy to say, well, this area needs doing up, that could do a bit of sprucing up, because spend money here, there. But this is a strategic plan that connects up the projects. As I said before, the town hall's been it's been a long ambition to open it up to the public. I know sort of like weddings were allowed there some time ago, but it wasn't open up to public for regular access and to be used as a hub. So I mean, that's a brilliant prospect. It's exciting. These link up to the other projects like the Heritage Action Zone and hopefully the Townsdale bid, if that's successful, or sorry, when that's successful. It's worth pointing out the consultation backs up these schemes. It's not all about retail. That's not what the public want anymore. They realise that town centres are different now. It's a different model. But the retail is there in the market with the prospective incubator units for businesses, so they can trial their business models before taking a plunge and investing in premises or paying higher rents. It should attract people to the town to spend longer in the town, which will increase the footfall for the town centre businesses as well. It also, Councillor Shirley alluded to the other areas. It should increase the use of the other shopping areas in the town. The fund wouldn't be big enough to do everything we would want to do with this, but it does create a better circuit for the town for shopping and for getting people into town and staying there. So I would hope every shop, every business would benefit. The other thing I want to mention, and it sort of occurred to me over the sort of past few months, again, similar to the previous agenda item, this scheme was devised and started taking shape before the current pandemic. But the COVID pandemic, for me anyways, it's made people reconnect with local businesses in a way. They've been using a lot more local businesses than before. Or they've missed the ones that have closed, and it's been I think it's made them reconnect with the businesses and also local places when they've been allowed out and they've stayed local and they've realised that the chance to get together on a casual and sort of regular basis to enjoy the place you live, I think it's increasing importance, and this scheme does actually do that. It encourages people to enjoy the town centre. It creates spaces where that will be possible more than it is now. So I think it's almost like it predicted the future, like the previous one for me, where it sort of looks at what people want to spend the time doing, and it is in the town centre. It is about where you live, and it's about when people visit to actually stay and enjoy the place, and it will increase your reputation. I do want to actually repeat myself, fantastic work in challenging circumstances by everyone involved. It's been a real slog. I can tell from my sort of partial involvement in some of the groups and all the consultation. You've seen the amount of work that goes into these things in the background. It's phenomenal. So it's been a massive effort. So congratulations. And I do hope, again, like I said before, levelling up agenda for the government. I hope these two bids are considered in parallel, not one or the other, not buy us off or not trade them off, because they do complement each other totally and utterly. And it would be the transformative possibilities of these is huge. So I would hope that really they don't sort of not cancel each other out, but we don't get sort of played off. So put these two bits together and see how that shapes up for our town and how it would deliver for our residents. It's long overdue. We need a lift in this town from outside help. We do our best with what we've got, and the residents have always been proud of our town. That's never wavered, but this would raise it to another level. So again, it's a pleasure to second this agenda item. Thank you.
Thanks, Lee. Chairman of the Executive to answer Ben's question.
Just replying to Ben, is this the end of it? No. Whatever happens, I mean, I'm hoping obviously that we will get this, but it is an ongoing bringing the town into the 21st century. We certainly aren't going to stop. We want to develop it, but we are in, you know, we're not in the age where people are going to turn up to Woolworths and do pick and mix and stuff like that. We're in a different age. People want a place to visit, not just a place to go and shop. And certainly me and Effie are looking forward to having all the stuff for kids and families around the town centre. And it will help the shops that do exist. But no, it's not the end of it. Whether we're, I mean, I'm assuming we'll be successful. But it, you know, we want to build up all of that area at the back of the town hall. And before, oh, you can't argue now because I'm closing it. But the back is the bit at the back, not the bit at the front. Before anybody argues about it. So yeah, we will continue that with the private sector and anybody else who wants to support it. The bit about Dalton, we can't include Dalton in some of these bids because the specific thing that the criteria for the government is quite specific. So this is for the Barrow future High Street. But as you know, we have included Dalton. We have got Dalton in the Borderlands bid, and you know, the borough is the borough. So we are obviously trying to do what we can for the whole borough. Now then, what else? Lee said a load of what I was going to say, so I won't say it. What else? Nothing. I don't know. With regard to the market, I think that's quite exciting. And I did actually go to the market traders meeting where they had a presentation on it a couple of weeks ago. Never knowing quite what to expect, but they were all very excited by it and very supportive. And I think the idea of the market having a soft play area in it is the sort of thing that will really help areas, because any of you who've been out shopping with your kids or your grandkids will know that sometimes it's not that easy. So to have a bit of give and take with the kids or the grandkids, get somewhere to play, it will actually help them all. And of course, the events thing at the back of the town hall, it would be remiss of me not to remind the chief executive that she's promised me that Mabel and Dua Lipa will perform at the opening ceremony. So I move all that lot, I think, and then we can have a vote, I reckon.
Thank you. John, can we have a roll?
Yes, Chair.
Roll call, please.
The motion's been moved by Councillor Brooke and seconded by Councillor Roberts. Please respond with 4, against, abstain. Councillors Assood?
4.
Barlow?
4.
Biggins?
4.
Brooke?
4.
Burns?
4.
Callister?
4.
Cassidy?
4.
Edwards D?
4.
Edwards H? Councillor Hazel Edwards? No.
Yeah, I'm here. I was on mute. 4.
Dawn? Hall?
4.
Hamilton?
4.
Husband?
Husband, with pleasure.
Johnston? Councillor Johnston? I think she might have left. Councillor McEwen?
I wouldn't know, it's boring.
Councillor McCleavey?
4.
Maddox? Councillor Maddox?
4.
Morgan?
4.
Not?
4.
Pemberton?
4.
Preston?
4.
Roberts?
4.
Robson?
4.
Ronson?
4.
Seward?
4.
Shirley?
4.
Thompson A?
4.
Thompson C? Councillor Colin Thompson?
4.
Councillor Wall?
4.
That's unanimous, Chair.
Thanks, John. Agenda item 9, homelessness and rough sleeping strategy 2020 to 2025. I call upon the chairman of the executive committee, Councillor Brooke.
Well, hello again. Yes, the proposal in the report sets out the council's position with regard to preventing homelessness, securing sufficient accommodation for people who are or may become homeless, and securing support for people who are homeless. It's a detailed document, and we had a really good report at the executive yesterday. And I think it just reminded some people that the housing department isn't just managing council houses, but our housing department helps a lot of people in our community, not just our own tenants. So the report seeks to incorporate the strategy into the council's policy framework. So I formally move the council approve the homelessness and rough sleeping strategy 2020-25 for inclusion in the council's policy framework, and that the strategy be incorporated into the framework.
Thanks, Derek. Is there a second there?
I'll second it and reserve the right to speak, please.
Thanks, Lee. Any hands up?
Councillor McEwen.
Councillor McEwen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, once again, another good report, written and well put in. Yeah, I totally agree with it and recommend it. But this is another case of rough sleep. I know we've not got as much rough sleeping as other places have in the country, but since 2010, the number of rough sleepers has gone up 165%. We are lucky when it comes to Barrow, but this is what's happened in this country. 165% it's gone up since 2010. So I know we look after our homeless as much as we can and our rough sleepers, so I really welcome this. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Shirley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Clearly, in this day and age, there should be nobody in this country who is homeless or sofa surfing, and Councillor McEwen's quite right, the numbers are low, but one person is one too many for our community. And also when the coronavirus pandemic struck, the government worked together with local councils to take action to provide some of the country's most vulnerable people with emergency accommodation, and we cannot now let those people go back onto the streets. So I welcome this plan and welcome the steps that the government are taking to eradicate homelessness from our country, which can't happen soon enough.
Thanks, Councillor Shirley. Councillor Burns.
Thank you, Chair, and find myself agreeing with what Ben said. It is important that we don't have people sleeping on the streets, that we are a just society, that people have a right to a roof over the head. It does worry me that some of the housing stock that we've got needs really looking at, and that's what some of these proposals that have come forward in the deal. When we're looking at housing, we need to actually look at some of the housing stock to make sure not only a roof over the head, but sometimes a decent roof over the head, because some families aren't living with that sort of situation. It's just another good thing that we've kept hold of our housing department, because the officers that we've got working in there and the projects going forward are fabulous. John Sharp works tirelessly, and her team, to make sure that people are supported when they need housing. It's not just giving them a roof over their head, but they actually have a look and see what their basic needs are for some of the families that they're having to deal with as well. You could call them almost the second social services, because that's the job that they take on as well. So I think we've got it right that we've kept hold of that. I think going forward, we've got to make sure that we have the right policies and that we don't allow people to rough sleep, and we try to stop, especially young people, sofa surfing, that we actually do the work with them to make sure that we've got decent accommodation for our families in this town. So I support this policy going forward, but we should just be grateful that we've still got our housing department as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Anne. Any further hands? Just before I bring Lee in, can I also pay my thanks to the homeless team in the town hall? Because one of One of them refused to go for an operation for 2 years because they've had 2 vacancies in there, and she's finally gone in to get a knee sorted out, Amanda. And that just shows you the sort of staff that we have. Absolutely fantastic. Lee, would you like to come in?
Yes, please, Mr. Mayor. Firstly, just to endorse what you've just said, really. The Housing Department do amazing work, and often it goes sort of not unnoticed by us members, hopefully. I hope they do realise how much we value the work, but it is sort of hidden from the public a bit, because the Housing Department doesn't say everything about what they do. So they do help residents with many issues, not just homelessness and the rough sleepers, but many issues that our council tenants have experienced. And even if they can't help them themselves, they do signpost them to other services effectively, and they engage with other services to make sure the problems are addressed. So firstly, I just want to endorse what you said. I think sometimes there's a perception we ain't got a problem in Barrow because we don't see as many people sleeping on the streets as other places. I mean, one person's one too many, of course, but it's invisible homelessness and soft surfing and things that aren't as visible when you're in a public place. That is an issue here, and the Housing Department briefed us on that when this came up at exec, and it is an issue, and it's something we have to be aware of. The other thing is COVID recovery. We're not even starting the recovery phase properly yet, and a lot of economic hardship will be short-term and medium-term and possibly long-term. So there is a risk of more people falling into the category of being at risk of being homeless. So it's important to have a robust policy and process and a very, very efficient and productive team working on it. Councillor Shirley mentioned, I was going to mention it as well, about COVID proves that when the appetite's there by government, they can get people off the streets. They can house them. There was concerns of what happens when that service is pulled, that stops. Will the funds be put on councils and it won't be funded, or where do people go after that? That is a concern. I would like to see that ambition to put people in a safe place, keep them safe. I would like that ambition to stay there and continue. And the other thing is, it's important to point out, you can put people in a safe place, but these are people who've normally got issues in their lives. You need the services that go along with that to help keep these people off the street and make their lives better and help them access jobs and other opportunities. So along with this policy, which is a straightforward policy, it's updating the policy, it's important to stress that it is an issue in the town. It could get worse. So I'm very proud and pleased we've got a really great team looking at this. But it also goes along with a call to government, certainly for the opposition could back us up on this and help us to do all we can to support people who through no fault of their own find themselves in difficult circumstances. And again, I'm pleased to second this. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lee. Derek?
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, I was just having a brew. I don't think there was any questions, was there? I think we just moved to the vote.
Right. John, would you like to do a roll call, please?
Okay, thank you, Chair. The motion has been moved by Councillor Brooke and seconded by Councillor Roberts. Please reply with for, against, abstain. Councillors Sood, Councillor Sood,
For.
Barlow,
For.
Biggins,
For.
Brooke,
For.
Burns,
For.
Callister,
For.
Cassidy,
For.
Edwards D,
For.
Edwards H,
For.
Gorn,
For.
Hall,
For.
Hamilton,
For.
Husband,
For.
Johnston. I think she's actually left the meeting. McEwen,
For.
McLeavy,
For.
Maddox,
For.
Morgan,
For.
Knott,
For.
Pemberton,
For.
Preston,
For.
Roberts,
For.
Robson.
I'll abstain in relation to the interest I declared earlier, John.
Ronson.
For.
Seward.
For.
Shirley.
For.
Thompson A.
For.
Thompson C.
For.
And Wall.
For.
That's clearly carried. Thank you, Chairman.
Thanks, John. Agenda item number 10, Business and Planning Act 2020. I call upon the Chair of the Executive Committee, Councillor Brooke.
Well, hello again. I didn't let myself in for all this lot when I said I'd be Chair of the Executive. I didn't know all this was going to happen. Anyway, here we go. The proposals in the Business and Planning Act 2020, which was formally introduced on the 22nd of July, has introduced a streamlined process which allows a licence holder such as restaurants, cafes and bars to place removable furniture such as tables and chairs on the paved highway adjacent to their premises. The measures support businesses to operate safely while maintaining social distancing measures and facilitate much needed income generation cheaply and quickly. District authorities are responsible for receiving and processing licence applications and may charge an application fee for doing so. A licence can be granted for up to a year, but not beyond 30th of September 2021. The functions need to be appropriately delegated to allow applications to be made, determined and enforced effectively and efficiently. I therefore move that the Council delegate authority to the Licensing Regulatory Committee responsibility for all matters in relation to pavement licences not otherwise delegated to officers under the Building and Planning Act 2020. 2, establish an internal review process where a licence has been refused or revoked or granted subject to conditions with which the applicant disagrees, giving the applicant the chance to make written and/or oral representations to a subcommittee of the Licensing Regulatory Committee. And 3, delegate authority to the Public Protection Manager to determine applications for pavement licences, to include setting the duration of the licence and attach such conditions as they consider reasonably necessary, and to take any necessary action in relation to the enforcement and revocation of the licence.
Well done, well done. Is there a seconder?
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any hands up? No.
Yes, Councillor D. Edwards, Chair.
I'm referring to page 124, item 3.1. The item states that the council will be charging the maximum possible of £100 per business for a pavement licence. Considering the huge amounts of money that the government have given to the town to reopen the town centre, wouldn't it have been a nice gesture for to businesses to pay for these licences and anyone that would like to apply for them from those businesses? I would like to, it probably would have been a total of a couple of £1,000s in total, which is ineligible, really, considering the amounts that have already been allocated to other areas. Money's being given to vulnerable groups, art groups, but businesses are also struggling within the town. Fortunately, the Barrow bids has recognised this and has come to the aid of businesses and offered 10 businesses the possibility of paying for their licences.
Thanks, Daniel. Hazel?
Yeah, I couldn't let this go by again. It's ironic that in the brilliant Barrow submission, which we've all praised, we have business support in it as an item. Yet we've got an opportunity here to practically help all businesses who want to have outside trading in a very simple, cheap way. As a council, we ought to issue licences free of charge to those businesses who require them. I'd like to see Dalton Road full of tables and chairs outside the businesses. We have it abroad, so why can't we follow suit? We've chosen to charge the maximum recommended amount, £100. Okay, somebody's going to tell me it costs £168 to issue a licence. Well, okay, let's pay the £168. Lots of money provided by this Conservative government. You've spent it all today on brilliant Barrow, etc., has been spent quite freely by this council. Conservative government money. We've given money out to arts projects and vulnerable people. Okay, that's fine. But businesses provide jobs and services, and it's essential for the prosperity of the town. You can't have one without the other. These businesses are vulnerable too, as we all know. Let's, for goodness sake, help them.
Thanks, Hazel. Councillor Burns.
Thank you. And I wish I could support Hazel and Daniel, but I fully support the businesses, but this may be a minute sum of money, but it is money that we don't have. And it's okay you saying that the Conservative government has given us a lot of money, or they're putting a lot of money in our way. Could I just remind you that it is not Conservative money. The money that's coming to us is our money. They don't have their own money, they have our money that they're spending. And could I also remind you, over the last 10 years, this government and the Tory government we've seen the worst government cuts in terms of council spending throughout the country. Every council has had austerity issues issued to them. This council lost vast sums of our money, and in terms of Cumbria, lost millions of pounds. We cannot continue, and we couldn't continue, to offer the same services that we used to continue to offer because of the government cuts. So please don't sit there weeping tears, Councillor Edwards, about government money coming to Barrow when we know we've struggled for 10 years to deliver a budget to try and keep services afloat in this town on very little money that we had when this government took office. So please don't weep to us, because we've been the ones that have had to work out how to make sure our people didn't suffer the effects of the amount of millions of pounds that's been taken from us. So I'm sorry we can't do this. I wish we could, and going forward, it may be an issue we look at, but we are trying to support it, and it does cost £168 for the licenses, and we are actually going forward for the 100. So I don't wish to hear any more about the Conservative giving us money, because they're not giving us anything.
Thanks, Anne. Councillor Robertson.
Yeah, I think Anne's pretty much said everything I was going to say, but this idea that there's Conservative government money is a bit unusual to me. There's such thing as public funds, the public purse, taxpayer revenue and other revenues generated for government to spend effectively for the population of the country they govern. It's not Conservative government money. That's a bit of a strange concept to me. And everything else that Anne said, 10 years of austerity, Conservative government giving people money effectively. It's been an absolute travesty for 10 years.
Thanks, Dave. Councillor Hall.
Yeah, so we get into the 10 years of austerity, but the reason we had 10 years of austerity was the Blair Brown project, which was a squandering of monies. However, that's not what I'm going on about. What's quite clear to me around the £100, we discussed it fully in licensing, but it harks back to when we had the soapbox derby. There appears to be a genuine dislike of allowing licenses for stalls, etc., amongst the officers. We had the ridiculous figure of £300 for the soapbox derby, hence there was nothing there at all, and it was, you could guarantee 100. Now I know you can give me a breakdown, and £22 will be down for HR and the town hall maintenance, but the fact is, for a relatively small gesture, we could have helped some very small businesses. There's one particular little cafe, he might get two tables outside. It's not worth his while to go in the £100. I think it's an opportunity missed, and it was a decision that was given down to the officers. What I found unusual was that we questioned this at the committee, and even if we'd voted at a committee that we wouldn't impose the £100, the officers had the final decision to overrule the councillors. And I found that bizarre.
Thanks, Liz. Lee?
Thank you, Mr. Bear. I'll try and be quick. I can see both sides of the argument, but to be honest, it's been mentioned. It's £168, so we will be out of pocket for this, and we're not a rich council. We haven't got a lot of money. We've had to suffer a lot of cuts, and that's meant we're not sort of blessed with lots of officers and lots of staff. I think there's another aspect of this that we're missing here, that it's not just about, the cost recovery. It loses money. We're given 10 days to process all applications, so that's automatically approved. So there'll be pressure on an already, a department that's already working hard through the pandemic, including things like enforcement and test and trace, which the Public Protection Department are being involved in. So this isn't, this is during these circumstances. We're taking some of the burden, but the businesses are taking some as well. So it's a shared burden. But one thing that occurred to me was, and I would do the same. If the license were free and I was running a business, I'd apply for one anyway. Then I'd work out if I was going to if it would be useful. Now, as we've seen with some of the I won't call them spikes, clusters of cases that have popped up in the county, Carlisle and Eden. They're involved in pubs. So, and it's shown that the taking of contact details, which is essential for contact tracing, maybe it hasn't been as effective as it should have been. So I think to actually make businesses seriously consider how they would approach having seating outside their premises, how would they control knowing who's sitting there and getting their contact details, and makes them actually consider whether they do want to actually go ahead with this license. So we're sharing the cost, and we're also, it also, I think, would cause people to seriously consider whether it is appropriate for their business and if they could actually run it effectively. The other thing I want to say is I don't like the comments of huge amounts of money. There isn't been huge amounts of money. We're spending money. We're hoping we'll be able to claim back off the government. Lots of money spent freely. I don't see any money being spent freely. I see it's being spent appropriately and to address the crisis, and that's not spending freely. The public money is public money, not government money. The concern is that great that the LGA and the District Council Network are lobbying government to make sure they commit to reimbursing governments and local councils for the amount they're spending during the pandemic. They're lobbying government because they're concerned about the messaging that's come out. So we have not been given a lot of money. That is just false. It's untrue. And we're just hoping at the end of all this, we will break even and get back what we've spent in trying to help businesses, trying to protect vulnerable residents, and trying to actually minimise the impact of the pandemic. So although I do see both sides, I think you've got to look at the bigger picture here. A lot of the previous agenda items help businesses greatly, and it helps residents greatly. This is making the political point out of an issue which should be weighed up on the bigger picture and look in the circumstances. Thank you.
Thanks, Lee. Tony?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Again, I'm coming on the back of what most other people have said within my group, and I totally agree with them. But, I've got to say, I've had it incredulous and ironic, the pompous tone that's come across on this actual debating point. To go back to Blair and to go back to Brown, a little bit of history, just so you're quite clear, just to give you a bit of education, that was down to the banking crisis where there's a collapse financially. But what we're trying to do as a Labour group is operate on astuteness. If you've got a budget and you're going to be running over budget by £68, it just doesn't make any financial sense, given the hard work that our staff are currently doing under severe circumstances which have been created by, and again, I've got to take your sort of like standpoints here and be a little bit political point scoring. The way the bloody government have shown us over the last 10 years and took money out of poor people's pockets. And if you think you can argue against that, I tell you what, you need to give yourself a shake. We will do everything possible within our locality to help our businesses and our licensees. So again, there is no dislike whatsoever for any of those businesses operating locally. I would suggest you see the bigger picture and we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Councillor McEwen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, when you come in at the back of something, everybody's already said it all. So, yeah, I'll just add to what everybody says. And 10 years austerity has put us where we are. But Councillor Hall there was condemning the officers for making this over above us. But let's not forget 2 agendas before that who were praising the officers for what they've done, the work they're doing. Now he's knocking them, and they're trying to save his money. So I think he's completely right out of order. And yeah, what was the other one? Yeah, the bid has offered to pay 10 licenses. Good on them, and so they should. It's their people at the bid, and I don't think they'll get any more than 10 anyway. And I think it's a good move by the bid. So yeah, this has got to go with this, and the officers are saving money. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thanks, Bill. And not forgetting, us as councillors in the town hall, we're actually part of the bid anyway. And what I find incredulous is when it goes back to the County Council. The County Council have been charging for this for the last 10 years. And so the business has just been aware of it. It's the likes of Anne and Frank and the rest of the County Councils. This has been going on. They've had to pay it for the last 10 years. And now it's suddenly become an awareness of the bid and whatever.
Can I just come in there, Chair? Sorry, you mentioned the County Council. Will we have to declare?
You can't come back in again, Bill.
No, I'm just asking a question.
No.
We need to declare an interest, Mr. Mayor. You've mentioned the County Council.
That was my question.
No.
Yeah.
No, we're not making money out of it. It's not whatever. You'd like to take the vote, John?
I think Councillor Cassidy wanted to speak, Mr. Mayor, sorry.
Well, he hasn't got his hand up.
I did have my hand up, Chair, but it's been covered. It's just, if you don't mind, Chair, I want to correct Councillor Les Hall. I mean, the reason there was, very, very quickly, the reason there was no national money in the national kitty in 2010 was because of the global meltdown of capitalism, because of greedy bankers, and what I endorse what Tony Callister said. And I think actually in his heart, Les Hall accepts that that is the case. Thank you, Chair.
And so say all of us. John?
Chairman, to reply first.
Chairman?
I can't believe that you're going to blame Gordon Brown because somebody has to pay 100 quid to have licenses outside the pub. But there you go. We are where we are. I think that I can't be bothered. No, forget it. Go to the vote.
John?
Thank you. The motion has been moved by Councillor Brooke and seconded by Councillor Callister. Please respond with 4 against, abstain. Councillor Sood?
4.
Barlow?
4.
Biggins?
4.
Brooke?
4.
Burns?
4.
Callister?
4.
Cassidy?
4.
Edwards D?
Against.
Edwards H?
Against.
Gorn?
Against.
Hall?
Against.
Hamilton?
4.
Husband?
4.
McEwen?
4.
McLeavy?
Against.
Maddox?
4.
Morgan?
4.
Not?
4.
Preston?
4.
Roberts?
4.
Robson?
4.
Ronson?
Against.
Seward?
4.
Shirley?
Against.
Thompson A.
For.
Thompson C.
For.
Wall.
For.
That's carried, Chairman. 24, 7 against.
Thanks, John. Agenda item 11, Overview and Scrutiny Committee Annual Report. I call upon the Chair of the Overview and Scrutiny Committee, Councillor McLeavy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The report provides members with the Overview and Scrutiny Committee's annual report, which I'm sure you've read. I move that the Council accept the annual report from the Overview and Scrutiny Committee.
Thanks, Martin. Is there a seconder?
Chair, happy to second that.
Thanks, Frank. Any questions, comments?
There aren't any, Chair, so if there's consensus of the meeting, we can take that as agreed.
Agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Agenda item 12A1, report of the Planning Committee. Call upon the Chairman of the Planning Committee, Councillor A. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that the report of the meetings of the Planning Committee held on the 23rd of June, 14th of July 2020 be received. There are no recommendations referred to the Council. The matters determined by the committee were all in the exercise of its delegated powers, and I will take questions on those matters. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any questions for the Chair of Planning? Ben Shirley, Councillor Shirley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just so that I get it right, because I've got two questions. Am I permitted to ask one concerning Planning Committee 23rd of June and a further question later concerning minutes of the 14th of July 2020, Mr. Mayor?
If the, yeah.
Okay, thank you. So first question concerns 23rd of June, Mr. Mayor. It's page 58, item 7. It concerns land to the rear of 12 and 14 Nelson Street, Dalton in Furness, Mr. Mayor. I just wondered if the Chair of Planning had a view on the possibility of expanding the off-street parking which the Borough Council owns opposite this site, near to or next door to the DCA Community Centre on Nelson Street to mitigate against further congestion. And if she's aware of the works which Cumbria County Council have recently resolved to proceed with this financial year to mitigate against congestion on Nelson Street.
Anne, would you like to reply?
Well, does he want to give me his other one and then I'll reply to them both?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to do that with your permission, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Just concerning 14th of July, page 65, item 15. The question is about the affordable housing policy for similar sites, and in the council plan it states that it is expected that 10% of dwellings, Chair, on sites of 10 units or over should be affordable as defined in the National Planning Policy Framework 2012 amended 2018, or any document which replaces it. It seems a bit vague. I've read through the NPPF, Madam Chair, and affordable housing is referred to on no fewer than 25 occasions, but every time it's rather vague, and I appreciate that that's not the fault of the council. I just wondered, Madam Chair, if the council would consider being bold and brave enough to make the decision by putting a figure on what it regards as truly affordable housing, so that developers and planners, but also more importantly, residents either here in the borough or moving into the borough, have a focal point that they can work towards for a genuinely affordable, decent home in our borough.
Would you like to reply on?
Yeah, thanks, Councillor Shirley. Right, the 23rd of June one, that land, I'm assuming that is one of our former councillors' land that you're talking about. I don't know that these are all matters that have already gone through, so there's no change in the actual plans now. But we could look at the situation in Dalton. I'll ask Charles, and I'll get a written reply to you. I know you did get a written reply last time from Jason, which was useful. And on the 14th of June, our affordable housing policy has been through the local plan process and was upheld by government. But as each scheme comes forward, we do individual plans of what we want to see in that scheme. So I'm sure that we could put it to the planning committee that if we wanted, that we want more affordable houses in. We have got quite a few schemes that have got affordable houses in, but you've got to understand that we get a lot of kickback from the actual developers, because that's that they don't want to put affordable houses in, because obviously, you know, the bigger the house, the more money they get. So it is a suggestion, and I will bring it up with the planners and get back to you on it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks, Sam. With no further hands showing raised, do you agree the report be received?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Thank you. Agenda item 12A2, report of the Licensing Regulatory Committee. I call upon the Chair of the Licensing Regulatory Committee, Councillor Callister.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Agenda item 12A2, report of the Licensing Regulatory Committee. The meeting to be held on the 25th of June 2020 had been cancelled. I move that the report of the meeting of the Licensing Regulatory Committee held on the 23rd of July 2020 be received. There are no recommendations referred to Council. The matters determined by the committee were all in exercise of its delegated powers, and I will take questions on those matters. Thank you.
Thanks, Tony. Councillor Shirley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just concerning the item that we've just discussed about the pavement trading, I just wondered if the Chair of Licensing will agree to look into ways of working more, continuing to work closely with Barrow Bid and local businesses to roll out the policy in a way which works best for Barrow and its traders. So what I mean by that is Dalton Road, Portland Walk are essentially wind tunnels, and my concern is, having chatted to local businesses and listened to what they've said about this policy, whilst they welcome it, their concern is that their interpretation of the policy is that it means essentially loose chairs, tables and parasols, which could just blow away and make a mockery of the policy. So with that in mind, can you clarify for the benefit of those businesses who may be observing the meeting, what exactly is meant by temporary in this sense, please?
Okay, thank you very much. That's a good question there, Ben. It goes without saying that the department, Public Health Department, will work with businesses locally and will certainly work with Barrow Bid to smooth any processes moving forward and to support them in any best way that we can. Regards the temporary seating, it is temporary seating, and that will need to be removed at the end of the trading hours and placed indoors. Hope that answers your question.
No further questions? Agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you.
Agreed.
Agenda item 12A3, report of the Licensing Committee. The meetings of the Licensing Committee on the 25th June and the 23rd of July had been cancelled, so swiftly moving on. Agenda item 12A4, report of the Executive Committee. I call upon the Chair of the Executive Committee, Councillor Brooke.
Move the report of the meetings of the Executive Committee held on the 8th of July and the addendum on the 27th of July 2020 be received, and note that each of the recommendations contained therein have already been dealt with under agenda items 7, 8, 9 and 10, which were great fun.
Is there a seconder?
Seconded.
Thank you. Any questions? Councillor Hall?
Just an observation that at how late we can get in the minutes for this meeting. I don't know what the reason was. Obviously, the meeting was yesterday. It just doesn't give you a chance to read through before you actually go to council.
Quite well made.
Well, that was entirely because of the timescale for the bids, and there's nothing really that we could have done about it.
Yeah, we just got hit with an awful lot of stuff at the last minute, Derek.
Yeah, I know, but that's the the bids have to be in at the end of July, and it went to Town's board on Friday, exec yesterday. It's not normal.
Thank you. Any further questions of the chairman of the executive? Can I take that as agreement then? Agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you. Agenda item 12A5, report of the Overview and Scrutiny Committee. I call upon the chair of the Overview and Scrutiny Committee, Councillor McLeavy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Report of the Overview and Scrutiny Committee. I move that the report of the meeting of the Overview and Scrutiny Committee held on the 9th of July 2020 be received, and that the recommendations contained therein have been dealt with under agenda item 11, and I will take questions on those matters. Thank you.
Thanks, Martin. Any questions of Councillor McLeavy? Agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you. Agenda item 12B, questions to the Leader of the Council. Do members have any questions of the Leader of the Council relevant to the business before us tonight? If asking questions, could you please refer to the committee, date and minute number rather than page number in the volume? No? Thank you. So now we're going into part 2. So we're going to have a comfort break while we go into part 2. Pardon?
Yes, please.
We'll stop and then you can reconvene after the comfort break.
Well, I thought we're going in part 2 now with the comfort break. We could stop streaming, couldn't we?
But you need to move into part 2 to enable the streaming to stop.
Well, we'll go into part 2 then after 5 minutes.
I'll formally move that we're going to part 2 and cease the broadcast thing on YouTube.
And I'll
second it.
That agreed, everyone? Yeah.
Agreed.
Agreed.